Hello and welcome to the Astroenergetic Tapestry report for February 10th through February 16th. That's Monday through Sunday. I'm Charlene and I'm here with Wendy. We are going to be talking about the aspects that are going on astrologically and how they relate to us as a global community. So Wendy, would you like to start us off with Monday the 10th of February and let us know what's going on in the skies on Monday?
Yes, Darlene. In the morning, it looks like our emotional side, our reflective in places that are known, familiar, and feel like home to us. I mean, a situation where we can just enjoy simple things that are nourishing to us or to others and share that and the ideal of that. And as the day progresses, then there are some other things coming.
Yeah, I was noticing that I think in the morning time, it'll be a good time for us even to, if we feel so inclined to even write or to, do things that we would do typically, by communicating, but maybe even communicating internally, like you were saying. So that seems like a good thing to do. And as the day, like you were saying, as the day progresses, maybe some of those things would be coming out would be things from what our highest ideals are. Sometimes we reach for things and we settle for things because that's what we, feel like we can reach. But, I feel like the energies that are present in Monday morning are allowing us to be able to reach for things in a way that would be, looking at it from a perspective of what we really truly want instead of like, what we're just going to settle for. Then in the evening time, did you see anything going on in the evening time? Because I wanted to share something about the evening as well.
The dynamic changes a lot. It begins accumulating some pressure towards the late evening, so that we might expect some surprises or some very deep, sudden insights regarding that inner life, very big emotions or very big feelings towards it. Like it could be even like a burst of letting go or a burst of some insight.
Yeah, insight and inspiration, and I feel like we've been leading up to this. This has been something that's been going on for weeks, and I feel like, I know it's just like this is something that we're just, going through, and it's about time that it's starting to happen, and I think tomorrow, when we talk about tomorrow, it'll give us a little bit of insight on how to implement some of those things that we do find, that we do have inspiration for. So I think this is going to be, a decent day. The energies are going to be emotional, but it's also going to be a very inspirational day and something to, a day to think about, ponder over. That's kind of what I was feeling for Monday.
Definitely. I actually think that overnight we might get some very important dreams if we remember, and if we keep a dream journal, we might get some very meaningful dreams in which we are telling us very deep stuff from our own subconscious or our own lives we wake up with, and what kind of messages we're telling ourselves to look into.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and that leads us right into Tuesday, the 11th. I believe that as well. I think that some emotional dreams, I wouldn't be surprised if it was even dreams of somebody, if you have dreams of people that pass away, maybe it's something like that, because it's something big and it's something deep-seated within you.
Recurring theme or a recurring dream.
Yes, a healing dream. Absolutely, a healing dream. And then in the morning, it's like the energies are perfect for you to feel that loving feeling. You know how when you wake up from a dream and you're like, oh my gosh, and you just feel so good, because it was such a beautiful dream. I feel like, it could be one of those dreams where it's a healing dream where it's like something traumatic you go through, but it could be that dream where you wake up and you feel just love, and I think it would be more inclined towards that, depending on whatever your healing needs are. But I do feel like the energy for the, the morning time when you're doing all your morning routine stuff, early in the morning, I think that would be a good time for you to feel the love. And if it is, one of those dreams that were not necessarily, pleasant to go through, it's still look for the love inside of it, because I think that the energy that's coming forward in the early morning for us to do.
Yes, I do agree. I do totally agree with that. It's a good opportunity to come in touch with that self-nurturing again, and see if they're the same moon in Cancer, so resolution of something.
Exactly. And then towards the afternoon, we're having an energy that is amongst us that gives us structure to things, even to ourselves. So if you're needing some like energy of structuring yourself, or you're needing to actually get real with yourself, because some of us, we just need to get real with ourselves, that energy is being brought forth to us to be able to, explore and to say to ourselves, is this what we want to do? Is this how we want to, live our lives? Is this, that this is the energy that I think it's been building all day, and it kind of peaks in the afternoon, this energy of, getting real with ourselves. What were you thinking about the afternoon and like towards the evening time?
That would be a perfect time that we will feel like we need to take decisions, like make a decision on something, and feel like we have what is required to begin setting up the structure to go on with it. And towards the later evening, it might feel like we need a bit of time to ourselves to ponder on those ideas, on that decision, on how to go about it. Come back from the whole emotional burst from the day previous and kind of heal from it.
It brings an energy of feeling how we can heal from those emotional things that we even dreamt about, because it gives us reality to that. That makes sense. So that leads us into Wednesday, the 12th. Do you want to start us off, Wendy?
Well, I think we begin with a moon that's void of course. That's exactly in the transitional state between Cancer and Leo. So it is shifting from this watery, emotional to a more fiery inspiration side of our lives. And it begins with energy, because I think it begins making and bringing forth an energy of getting out there and inspired to do something out of the decisions we took the last previous day. And it is also an interesting day because later on Mercury, it has been in retrograde now for a few days, and it comes back to Aquarius. So instead of being in this watery emotional side of Pisces, it comes back to the more mental, logical, and very much progressive and insightful sign of Aquarius.
And I think that supporting the energies from yesterday, when we were talking about having some structure to those dreams that we were having, even late or early in the morning, I should say late at night, but early in the morning, after midnight, there are some energies that are also supporting the ability for us to bring our emotions forward, and maybe this is going to be through our dream state and make things real. I wouldn't be surprised if our dreams seemed more real tonight than they did last night, whereas last night they may have been healing, but the night, on the night of the 11th to 12th, that they would seem to be more realistic, be the early morning. And then, once we get up, it might be a good day for us to even go out and exercise. We might feel like it's time for us to expend some energy. So if it is customary for you to exercise early in the morning, I know right after then the moon, like you were saying, does go void of course between then and early afternoon at 2:15 when it moves into Leo. And when it moves into Leo, I think that the energy of the day will be more fiery energy for us, some more moving energy. So that'll be a good thing, a good switch up from the void of course from early in the morning on. That's kind of what I see for the afternoon forecast. Is there something you wanted to share other than Mercury and moving into Aquarius in the evening, Wendy?
Not for now, except more about communication, but on a different note, not so much on the emotional, but more of ideas that are inspiring, that kind of communication.
Yeah, it's almost as if when on Monday we were talking about how we're communicating and things are coming through and our ideals are being, shared. It's almost like as if this is an awkward time, and this might be in my opinion, it might be a mercurial moment, in the evening, afternoon, that we're feeling like, things are not flowing correctly. And this might be the moment where, and I always think that when the planets change signs too, in my opinion, it's kind of an awkward feeling, it's just like things are not, they're just shifting and changing, and we all go through those shifts. It's not necessarily bad or good. In fact, it is what it is. We're always shifting, and that's a good thing. But it's that shift that, changes. So I think that it might bring some, questions to those ideals and those things that we're talking about, but that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing because it makes us look more introspective and closer at the things that we're trying to focus on. So I think that's a really good, forecast for the 12th. It's a busy day though. It seems like there's going to be a lot of energy going on that day.
Of learning how to, kind of thinking about considering taking turns to listen, and then appreciate how everyone has their own individual way to communicate things, despite it being very stumbly right now and kind of strange right now, but to kind of appreciate the uniqueness in which all of us are going through this together.
Exactly. I don't think Mercury in retrograde is as bad as people think it is or make it out to be sometimes. I actually think it's a great time for us to reflect and be able to, say, these things are going to happen and we need to fix them anyway, so it just brings them to the surface. So I think it's really kind of a good time to reflect.
I think so too.
Yeah. So on the 13th, I didn't see a whole lot of things going on. I do see it in the morning. There may be some pleasant surprises that happen. It could be something simple to something grand. Who knows? You might be a little inspired to do something fun. There's some, it just seems like there's some pleasant emotional surprises. So that's kind of what I feel for the 13th, but I feel it's kind of like this calm before the storm. Maybe because tomorrow, the 14th, would be the full moon. But what were you thinking about the 13th, Wendy?
I think the 13th will be exactly like it's building slowly up, gradually, for the 14th to be this actual full moon day, but it feels like very kind of focus or to enjoy the comedy within the moment, like the kind of lighter, more comedic side of life that we can just see in everything we do. Because in a way, sometimes people take things way too seriously, and maybe if it feels like we're going kind of crazy with Mercury retrograde and with anything else going on in our lives, we can try to step back and take it with a bit of humor and see how we're all really doing our best and really all kind of making mistakes sometimes, but it's really not such a big deal.
Right. We're all learning.
More making that in that way.
Exactly. We're all learning, like always, and nobody's ever perfect, and that's just part of life. It's not like life is not like the movies.
Yeah.
So the 14th is a big day. It's Valentine's Day, and it's a full moon day, and the moon goes void, of course, for a while. So lots of things are going on. What do you think is going on early in the morning on Valentine's Day?
It does feel like that day will be many days within one day, like so many different energies, moods, and stages within the same day, but it starts off feeling kind of maybe almost aloof to going out or to meeting people, kind of more comfortable just figuring out how we're doing things in our own company, maybe creating something or just kind of feeling good with ourselves, more isolated in a sense. And it does begin changing.
And I feel like I agree with you about the morning, and it continues on throughout the day, and it's almost like we're giving ourselves energy to making things happen for ourselves, for those of us that are going to celebrate Valentine's Day with our loved ones or whatnot. I can see things piecing together smoothly in the afternoon for you if you're going to have like an evening celebration or something like that, and I also feel like, it being the full moon in the evening, as the full moon happens in Leo at 6:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that means that the moon and the sun are opposing each other. So I always think that the full moon has an effect on us in a way such as it can either be very positive for us or it can be very struggling for us, it depends on where we're at within ourselves. It can give us tumultuous feelings or we can have really positive feelings, so that happening right around dinner time on Valentine's Day is interesting. What do you think about the full moon and its energy on us?
Well, I feel that we're in opposition to the new moon, which is like a time to begin new things, for new projects for like a start or birth of something. The full moon is culmination of what we have been doing for the last 2 weeks, so it's the climax, highest point to the story, and I feel that it brings a lot of light to things as they are. It can bring a lot of clarity, and it can bring a lot of emotion, but it depends on the person, like you said, on how it's directed. I feel that we can find a lot of clear information when there's a full moon, of just stopping to pay attention to what goes on around us. And be careful, for example, driving or in times when people are kind of more susceptible to be just more reckless, for example, because I feel it will be a full moon with certain Martian energy of wanting to do something, wanting to drive, like an energy to kind of be driven somewhere. And with everything previous leading up to this point, I feel it could be good to be careful driving or careful. Just look around.
Yeah, just be careful. Also, in the later evening, I feel like a lot of energy is given towards just ourselves. So it might be one of those nights that you end up feeling like you are just high on energy. I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on as far as that's concerned, and it's amplified by the lunar energy. I think sometimes I have a hard time sleeping, but there's also other aspects in the sky that are leading me to say this to you. I also think that even possibly having this be a night, again, of journaling, if this isn't a night of, having a love fest with your honey, it would be another good night to journal and write down some of those emotions that you feel, and if you're not in a relationship, that's not anything to be sad about. There's lots of people in relationships that aren't happy. Look at it from that perspective. And I think it's important to love yourself, and maybe this is a good time and an opportunity, being that it's a full moon, and it's a time to, set the stage for either the next 2 weeks until the new moon, or like Wendy was saying, for the next 6 months, to set some intentions for yourself, like what is it that you want to do, and journal those things. I think it'll be a really good time for you, like in the evening time, later evening time, to write some of those things down and possibly, start implementing them, but not right yet. I think journaling is probably the best thing to do until Mercury does go direct, and then we want to start taking action on some of those things that we've been journaling about. So that's kind of what I was seeing myself for the 14th. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Wendy?
Not really. I think it would be good to move on to 15th.
Yeah.
Okay. Change signs in the middle of the night, so it would be also a different set of days, another transition after the full moon. So we wake up with a moon in Virgo, which is a lot more about sowing and reaping what we sow, about taking care of immediate matters in a more detailed fashion, more like taking care of our home, cleaning, like a good time to reconsider everything we've been journaling or thinking, gathering information, going through it, organizing.
And I think that it's even, as the day progresses, sometimes when we get in that mode of like the Virgo moon of cleaning our homes and ourselves and getting things in order, we start to have these notions of our idealistic nature. I think that would be good, like what do we idealistically wish to bring forward in this world? And I think that it's a good time to start to think about those things. That's a good time to do that. And again, I do also think that journaling or writing some things down that you've been, feeling like you want to express, even if you're not a journaler or a writer, maybe talking to somebody else that you love about some of these things might be a great idea, like for the afternoon on Saturday. Was there something else that you wanted to add there, Wendy?
No, I think it's interesting that Mercury comes back to the point where the sun is. So I think it could be a day that journaling and meticulous paying attention can bring us interesting insights that we will need later on. Because this Mercury retrograde time usually brings you all the information and little things you had been missing, but that are really necessary for you to make the best possible decisions in your life. So it would be probably an insightful day to consider, and that would bring probably really good feelings later on, more
So for Sunday, the 16th, I see that as being a really good night for you to feel like you want to stay up all night. It's sometimes, when you stay up all night, especially if it's a weeknight, you would feel, tired or sluggish the next day. Well, yeah, you might feel that way on Sunday, but if you sleep in, that's okay too. So I feel like going out emotionally, you're going to feel happy, you're going to feel expansive. So if you feel like if you're the type of person to go out, have fun. If you're the type of person to stay home, read a book, write something, an essay, study something literary like that, I think that might be a good energy for you for the early morning of Sunday morning. So that's kind of what I feel for Sunday. Stay up Sunday and sleep in Sunday, Sunday morning. What are you feeling about Sunday?
Actually, it does feel like a kind of romantic day in a sense, like a comfortable time to enjoy and with a kind of very, like a romantic sense to it.
Yes. And do you feel that in the morning, or do you feel that like in like early morning, like I was talking about, or more like in the afternoon, the romantic sense?
Develop towards the afternoon.
Yeah, more in the afternoon. I feel the same. Yeah.
And then maybe towards the night could become something like a creative energy.
Yeah.
I just want to express it in something like, I don't know, painting or something that lets you put those feelings out there somehow.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because Sunday's always a day that I like to paint. Well, not always, but often the day that I like to paint, because I get the opportunity to do that. So I think this wraps up the week for February 10th through 16th. This has been an off week in review for us for the Astroenergetic Tapestry Report. We are Starlene and Wendy. You can find our websites. Mine is rockstarastrologer.com, and Wendy's is
astrophilia.net. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much for listening. Okay, and take care, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.